Welcome back to Shining in Darkness. Sonic Software Planning's, or Camelot's, if you prefer their newer name, first game. This was back when they were with Sega. I don't know the reason why they left Sega to form Camelot with Nintendo, but I think it has to do with how they might have been treated during the course of making Shining Force or something like that. It was kind of strange, really. It is kind of strange. I'll admit it's not as. Hold on, let me get my. Okay, here we go. Let me get my maps. Jeez. Where am I? Where am I? Here I am. I'm supposed to go to the something of courage. Now, unfortunately, I can't really go there. Because, I can't really go there because of, like, well, because everyone's underpowered. So I have to level up Milo and Pyra. No, I see. I don't even have. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, just echoing now. The wall still isn't alive. Mm-hmm. A cleric, a mage, and a knight. Oh boy. You know, Sega had a lot of RPGs. Like you could tell that Sega really was trying to bring RPGs in their early on, but a lot of it didn't really catch on. Um, it it wasn't for everyone, as you all know. Y- The good thing is that they're going after Lance. I'm gonna head back. I'm still wary of that puddle because I know it's gonna come to life at some point. Okay. Make it nice and cheerful. No, let me get a an angel feather, because I'm just gonna go straight to the like tougher enemies, and if I see like they're like someone passes on or gets knocked out or something, I'll very okay. I should have given it to Lance. There is a very little color use here, as you can see. It's most likely due to, I guess they're trying to maintain some scrolling effect, but man, it is one of those things that, oh jeez. I guess this is the best I could do it, just because of like... This is the best that Genesis could do. I guess if they... I guess they were just like analyzing the cost. Because if you see a lot of Motorola 68,000 kind of hardware, like the Amiga and some other stuff, you know it could do so much more. You know the Amiga could do so much more, but like they couldn't give that same consideration to the Genesis because of just how, they have to sell this stuff at a profit, right? So they couldn't make things too complicated or make things too advanced. But man, it just kind of sucks. Okay, was it over here? Oh no. There we go. Ooh. I can tell these guys are not gonna last long. Perfect. So I have to talk about. I was passing by a high school not too long ago. I drove by it, and I remember what used to be there before they built the high school there. And it used to be a. It used to be a department store and a laundromat. And years and years before the the department store closed down, but the laundromat was still active, and people would like, there were a lot of people that would go to the laundromat, and it was owned by this couple. And somehow, I might have talked about this place before, but somehow they would always get the latest and greatest arcades. And it was and I was just thinking about that place not that long ago. I was like thinking, damn, there used to be my favorite arcade place. Surprisingly, as a little kid, it was this laundromat, and I don't know how they got the arcade. I think they might have rented them from somewhere, but sure enough, they had the latest and greatest arcades. I'm talking about when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, they had it within the same month. Same thing for Street Fighter Turbo and Super Street Fighter. They had Fatal Fury Special, King of Fighters 94. And I'm pretty sure that place was making them bank, because I was thinking about like all the different little Oh, that hardly did anything. Ooh. There we go. Go. Damn. Why don't just go ahead and attack him? I was thinking about this arcade place, and I was thinking like all these kids I remember because I was relatively young. I was like, I don't know, maybe between the ages of 5 to 11, I guess. 11, 12. I was from 11 to 12. No, no, no. From, I guess, 12. Hold on, let me see. From, I guess, from 5 to like 11 or 12, like around there. That would be my arcade. Like every Friday, my mom would go do laundry there, and we would just, and it would be a thing. It would be like a routine every week. I'll go there and I'll play like an arcade game. And every time I'll play Street Fighter, you know, because that's what the big kids were playing, right? I would just get my ass handed to me. But man, so many good memories. I remember, man, there was so many good memories. And I passed by there, like, right. I passed by there, and all these memories started coming back about like, man, this that was that was a pretty interesting time. I remember thinking. All right. Ooh. Oh, they hate Milo all of a sudden. So, I, so anyway, the anyway, years and years later, you know, well, what ended up us stopping going to the laundromat was that my mom got a washing machine, right? She's wanted one for years. My dad never gave in. He was like, "Oh, well, why would we do that? All this stuff." And eventually he caved at some point, and we got a washing machine. And that's when I knew our visits to the laundromat were over. And oh man, there she's fired. And it was really sad. It was a really sad moment. I remember being a little bummed out when we got the washing machine because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go over there again. Because to me, that was my arcade spot. I, I was a preteen. I didn't have access to go all the way go far away to the arcade. I actually relied on that laundromat to expose me to the newest arcades. And I could tell you there were times when you know we we would head there like after school, right? and the arcades would just be packed. They would be packed like you wouldn't imagine. I remember this was around when Super Street Fighter 2 came out. Not Turbo, but Super Street Fighter 2. And my mom, we someone spilled water or something spilled on the sheets, on some bed sheets, and my mom needed to make an emergency wash. And of course, I accompanied her because she needs help folding that stuff. But I accompanied her, and this was like probably past 5, right? The laundromat isn't as close as you think it is to me. It was a good like half mile away from us. It wasn't too close, right? So we went there, right? And I get there, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna go see if they got any new arcades. And sure enough, there were kids. Like we're talking about like of all ages, from like I guess 6, 7. Oh man. It was like from like I don't know 6, 7 years old up to like 15, 16 year old. Like we were talking about like definitely older kids, right? And and I was like flabbergasted. I didn't make a head count, but if I were to guess, there were probably around, I want to say 20 kids for probably four machines, right? For sure, one was Super Street Fighter. Another one was Mortal Kombat 2. There was a was there a map? No, there was a Neo Geo with Fatal Fury Special, and the last one was a Pac-Man machine. The Pac-Man machine has been there for like what was there for like even before before even I was born, from what I was told. So those were the arcade machines, and I was like, wow, how am I gonna get in there, right? I'm looking around and it was packed. It was full, and it was full of kids. And it was after school, and I realized that I first off, none of those kids were kids I recognized at school. These were other kids from other schools, possibly from around that neighborhood. And that was that. I was like, wow, there's an entire army of of kids here, you know. And the owner, uh, recognized me, right? The owner, she says, "Oh, how you doing? You're here?" Like, yeah, like a lot of people, And then she tells me like, "No, this is like a daily occurrence that our kids get packed." Now, my mom's usual routine is that, like if I'm sick on a Friday or there's a Friday day off at my school or whatever, then I'll accompany her to the laundromat. Um, or if I'm on vacation and I'll accompany her to the laundromat. I've never been at the laundromat uh, during the middle of a semester and after school. Yes. How much money do I have? Still don't got a lot. Gotta get decent weapons for these guys though. Can I survive a little bit? Alright, I'm gonna see if I could get up to 700 gold, and I'll go head down. Anyway, it, anyway, we anyway, um, we would after my mom got the washing machine, we would rarely go to the laundromat, and we couldn't, like, the times we would go is like usually for like some something the washing machine couldn't handle, like carpet, like pieces of rugs and large blankets and things like that, which means it was very, very rare. Um, there was a there was an incident when the washing machine, I think there was some piping needed to be fixed, and we went to to the laundromat that week. Oh man. Oh, that did quite a bit of damage. Anyway, at some point, I want to say it was in the late 90s. I want to say around 98 or 99 when the laundromat closed down. And the laundromat closed down. They tore down the department store. And then they tore down the laundromat. And I remember one day it was all fenced off, and we passed by to go somewhere, and I look over, and the laundromat's just gone. Oh, and I remember feeling so bummed out when I saw that. I was like it shouldn't affect me, really. It really shouldn't affect me, but it did, because that was my spot. That was my favorite place to go to arcades. I made friends there. I it was the first time I played Street Fighter at the arcade. The first time I played Fatal Fury in arcade. The first time I played Mortal Kombat at all. Uh, and that was that. Like, they were gone. They were all gone. And then, like, years later, when they cleared everything and built up a high school, I'm thinking geez. Okay, let me get out of here. And it was really it was a little painful. Uh, actually more painful than it should be, but yeah, it really did bum me out. It really did bum me out, and I think the last game I remember playing there was King of Fighters 95. It was King of Fighters 95, and it was a little confusing for me, because I expected it to play like Fatal Fury, because I saw Terry there, but that wasn't the case. It plays different. So get these guys proper weapons. Go ahead and give it a little bit more of a boost. That's right. Well, hold on, maybe I could sell the... Years later at my job, at my retailer job, I would come across the owners of the laundromat, and they remembered me. You know, I was much taller and all this stuff, but they said, "Oh, you look like your dad." I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Oh, and they were all doting on me. Oh, I remember you're such a small boy. You would always go to the arcades all the time, and like, yeah, yeah. Do you still play video games? I said, no, I have a job now, which is a complete lie considering what I'm doing right now. But but yeah, she would, you know, she would tell me, and then I asked like, well, like what happened? Did you sell it and whatever? And they said, yeah, we sold the business. You know, we managed it for so many years, and to them, they was like they were getting kind of old, and they just wanted to kind of like, you know, retire and have more time with their grandkids and stuff. So, I guess that's understandable, but it is a little disappointing seeing places like that go. I will never get out. I will later get my another arcade place that was a proper arcade location. Um, okay. I buy. Where look? Give me an angel feather. I'll have Lance hold on to it just in case. That was an actual arcade location, very fighter centric. And it is like, it, you know, it was pretty. I would like to say its name. I would like to. I probably already said it in the past, but I really don't want to give out where more or less I you know, where more or less I'm located at, you know. But it was a very popular arcade place with the FGC back in the day, and I really miss that place because after the laundromat, there was a period of time when I wouldn't be able to go to arcades, right? You know, but my brother again. But my brother had like an actual arcade place, and he had friends that would go to the arcade, and he took me to this place, and it was the first time I played Killer Instinct, right? This was '96, this was 96, and no. Yeah, it was 96 the first time I went there, but I started going more frequently around 98, and it was awesome, right? The guy there, he owned all the arcade spots or all the arcade units. He wasn't renting them or anything like that. And we would just play. I played Killer Instinct there in '96, and I remember the intro. Coming to your house, coming to your home, in 1995, only on the Nintendo Ultra 64, Killer Instinct. And I was like, oh damn, that sounds so badass, and it was rough, but I think it just seemed so awesome. Really, it really seemed the presentation, the outlandishness, all this stuff. It was pretty fun. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna still level these guys up. I'm not. So I have a relatively good idea where I'm at. Man, and then there was this time when so yeah, this new arcade place. Uh, it was wonderful. I'll tell you that. They had in '98. That was the first time I finally got to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It was on the arcade, and this was a game I consistently read about and looked at in the Game Pro strategy guide, the Super Street Fighter 2 strategy guide by Graham Wolf or Graham Wolfie from Game Pro, and this was really it. This was the first time this was the first time I played it, and I was having so much fun getting my ass kicked by the computer. But I finally got to do it. I finally got to juggle. I finally got to do supers on this thing, and I would always stare at the screenshots. I would stare at the different combos. Believe it or not, the first character I picked was Akuma. I read that strategy guide so much that I memorized how to pick Akuma. That's how crazy it was, right? And and I got to him pretty far. I don't know. Because I have to tell you, ST had a bug in its difficulty, right? They didn't fix it. Apparently they were supposed to fix it. A lot of arcade operators, they didn't buy it because most people, all they ended up doing is fighting each other. They didn't even bother. A lot of guys didn't even bother the single player. But I showed up, My brother took me at a time before like all the professionals started showing up. And I got a chance to play street, ST, and I couldn't like believe, you know. See, I got that thing in '94, so it was like 4 years from me getting the strategy guide to me actually playing Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It was insane, right? It was like I can't believe I finally am getting to play this, and and I'm playing as Akuma. I'm playing as Akuma, right? I'm pulling off the juggles. I'm doing air fireballs. I'm spamming air fireballs because the computer is very difficult. but but sure enough, I finally had a blast. Now, now I now I remember. You see, my brother's friend, one of his friends worked at the arcade place, so he knew. So he kind of knew the ins and outs of how these things work. He would fix them. Like I remember he went to like the little office thing that they had at the arcade place, and he found like JAMA cables and push buttons and stuff. Like there's like a box full of all these different push buttons and JAMA cables, and I followed my brother in there when he was talking to his friend, and I think he was there to pick up something. I wasn't too sure, but after I played ST, um, I proceeded to play some Killer Instinct 2. Um, at the time, I didn't know. I was not aware of a Killer Instinct sequel. I didn't have any internet or anything like that. I saw Killer Instinct Gold, and I didn't know that was really the part two for the 64. Hmm. And you know, and after a while, I just like, you know, had my fill, and I was at like I would period like I would say maybe like 2-3 times a year I would go to that one arcade place. Um, but around around the time of around the time of the Dreamcast's like discontinuation, um, we would go there a little more often, and usually really late at night. So we're talking about when all the pros would come out, and I at the time I was there was a CVS2 machine. I didn't have at the time. I didn't have CVS on anything. I was playing CVS2 mostly at my college. It had a CVS2 machine, and it was me and me, well, a couple of Paisas and Asians, like just chilling there and playing playing Street Fighter and CVS2, and and I would say I was a better player back then than I am now, but at the time I was okay, right? And I skilled up a little bit with my Capcom vs K2 skills, and I managed to and then like one day my you know my brother says, "Hey, we're gonna go we're gonna go to the arcade." Or do you want to come to? No, no. He was like, "Do you want to come to the arcade?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was younger. I could handle a late night session at the arcade, and that's what I did. I went to the arcade with my brother really late at night. This was when all the pros were there, and I'm seeing these guys play. I am really seeing these guys play, and they they were on a whole nother level. You know, one of my brother's friends, he tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, this guy over here, he went. This is the first time I heard Evo. He went to Evo. I'm like, wow, what's that? What's Evo? I didn't know what that was. Or no, was there Evo? No, no, no. I think it was still the Bama Bay Bash or something like that. But here, let me see if I could make this a little brighter. Hold on, guys. Okay, I think that's good, right? Okay. How's that looking? Yeah, it looks better, right? Okay, I think it looks a little better. Anyway, but I could tell something big because the guy he was kicking everyone's ass, right? This was in third strike, so that was that, right? And I got my and I only stuck to one machine. Well, actually, no, I started playing ST afterwards, but I gravitated towards Capcom vs SNK 2 because at the time that's all I knew how to play well. I wasn't say I was an expert, but I played it well enough that I felt like I'm gonna look like a complete amateur at it. I was very intimidated. I'll tell you guys, I was very intimidated by being in the presence of these professionals. And I started playing CVS 2, and without announcing, or without even knowing, or not without announcing, this dude comes up with the do rag, and puts in a quarter, and he nods at me. I nod at him back. I'm like, okay, this is my first fight outside of school. Like I'm not playing the guys at school. I am playing against like a potentially a pro, and I barely won that. This was a stranger. This is a total stranger. Me playing. I'm playing against a total stranger, and it was a tough fight. I barely won that one with the skin of my teeth. That's how close it was, And then came another guy, and then another guy, and then by some miracle, there we go. By some miracle, I managed to win 5 fights, and then, but I knew I knew my time was gonna come up, right? I just knew it, and I had my ass handed to me by a professional. I could tell because he was like shimmying and footsie, doing some footsies, trying to draw me in to do stuff. And I'm like, this guy's. You could just tell when you play against a professional, they're trying to do stuff to you to get you to do something, right? How much money do I have? Not nearly enough. I want to get better armor for these guys before I go to the thing of courage, right? And and sure enough, he I managed to take one of his guys, but I was completely outclassed, right? Oh man, no poison. I was completely outclassed. Like, damn, 5 fights. I won 5 fights in that place. And then I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'll play ST. I'll play I'll play Super Turbo. And um, and sure enough, after one match against the computer, someone joined in, and I was playing. And that was the first time I ever played Super Turbo against anyone. I said, oh man. Oh man, this is rough. But thankfully, uh, I now, oh man, but like I beat him, and I beat like a couple of people. But by that point, Super Turbo was a pretty old game, man. I don't think you could say it lost some of its luster. But I was finally happy to be playing against anyone in that game, really. That and and then I remember we came back home like at 4 in the morning. Like the owner, he would just keep it as long as there are people putting in money. He would keep the doors open, and I think at some point he might, he was getting too tired, so he would oh hell yeah. He was getting too tired, so I guess he'll tell people to leave or whatever. But we got out of there we didn't get back home till like 4 in the morning, and I remember my brother was like, you like he was like, how do you beat those guys? Like, my brother is not, he's not a fighting game player. He's not. He likes playing RPGs. He likes, soul-like kind of games. He's not a fighting game player, you know. And I was like, I don't know, like I don't know. It's I learned it at school. I think maybe I only had like 3 hours of yeah, 4 hours of sleep before my mom woke us to get ready for before breakfast, and then my sister was there. I was like, oh, where were you guys at? It's arcade, we were at the arcade, and my brother was all like parading me around. Yeah, Dave was around beating up Asians. he, he beat a black dude and some Asians at Street Fighter. It was CVS too, but that, and you know, I was like full of glee, or I don't know, a pride or whatever. Uh, at the time I was too tired to take any gratitude or any praise from my brother. I was like, shit, I don't want to do that again. We did it again the following week, because that's how it was, and that was the thing. Like maybe once or twice a month, we would go to the arcade, and then when I started working, it became kind of like, it became harder. Like it really did become harder to go to the arcade. But me and my homies at work, we would go to that same arcade after work. I remember we would leave like like our shifts will all end at midnight, and I didn't have a car, but I didn't have a car, but my coworkers and my homies were like, hey, do you guys just want to go to the arcade? I'm like, yeah, yeah. So we would do that, and you know, they were fighting game players, right? But they weren't. I don't think they were at the same level as I was. So they would go, and they would, they would get trounced on because, you know, you guys gotta understand. This was still before Evo was a thing. Before anyone had any before before the internet hit its mainstream and people knew who these guys were. I remember those guys from from every time they kicked my ass from years before, right? And I was told that these guys kind of does this as part of their job. And one of my coworkers, he felt really bummed out that that he was able to get a match in on any of these guys. And I remember telling him, dude, this place is like the epicenter of professional fighting games players in either North or Southern California. Like these guys, I don't know, but these guys, they come from like all over to try the metal. You played against possibly the best of possibly the best in California, if not the nation. So he was like, "Oh, really?" Like, yeah. Then how did you get so good? Like, I was like, I'm not good, man. And then they're like, you won 4 of your matches. Yeah, but how? If I was like, but how many did I lose? Like, I don't know, but you won more than us. I was like, oh, all right, all right, I'll give you that. But yeah, that was a routine that we would do sometimes. Man. But like any other arcade place, it eventually had to go. It went away in early 2010s. It I guess I'll say its name. It's kind of known. But I might have already said its name before. But I maybe I shouldn't say its name. But man, should I say it? Like 50 people watch these. I don't know if anyone would even. Okay, I guess this place is far away enough from me that can't really tell. But it's called Family Fun Arcade. It was called Family Fun Arcade. I had a lot of great times there. And even though I lost most of the time, it was a blast. I remember going there right when I heard they had Street Fighter 4. Someone said they got Street Fighter 4 there. And we went, and it was a blast. I had a winning streak on. That was the first time I played Street Fighter 4 was at that place. And I would go back time and again just to play some Street Fighter 4 because this was before I even arrived on consoles. That's how long Street Fighter was away, and and at some point, I remember trying to make it trying to make it kind of like a daily or a weekly routine, but it was just one of those things that I had a job and a priorities. I couldn't just make it, but I had such a great time that I would do anything just to keep on trying, right? I'll keep on trying to go there. Ultimately, I ended up, not going for a period of time because of some bad things that were going on. But when I heard that they were closing down, oh, I leveled up. Anyway, I wonder if that's enough. Let's get up to 700, right? We'll get 700 gold, and then we'll try to see if we could find some armor or something for these guys. Anyway, when it was finally time for it to close, like the guy wasn't the owner. He wasn't from what I was told. He wasn't in any financial situation or nothing like that. It was just that he got some sort of illness or something. Now this is all hearsay, so I don't know the full details, but from what I heard, that he got an illness and he just couldn't keep up with the demand of he couldn't keep up with the demand of of staying open that late and stuff. He just had to like call it quits. He's So I remember I wasn't able to make it there the last day. I was, because obligations, but I went on the day before, and I was just playing like as many different games as I can. Blaze Blue, Project Justice, Street Fighter 4, ST. I played that ST machine a lot. And the last game I played, I remember, was King of Fighters 2002 on, an Ultimate Battle or Unlimited Battle or something like that. And that was that, and then it was time for me to go, and I looked back, and I remember seeing that entire crowd of people just still there, still hanging out there. They were holding on to that, trying to make the best memory as possible. And what's sad is I wasn't there with friends. I was there by myself, and that's when I kind of knew that, all my friends, they had obligations. We all were growing up, and it was kind of like that moment of realization that we're all kind of growing up, and our time is kind of just our time is going to be up. But man, that was a great place. Every so often, though, I do try to make an effort to find arcade places in and around the area. And there are a couple of spots. I remember going to the beach kind of far away, and finding an actual arcade location just a couple of blocks away. I was like, really? There's an arcade? It was a video game store, and they have an arcade right next to it. And you drop them $5 and they give you all these tokens for you to use in an arcade. So I remember me and Chris, I remember telling Chris and Michael, he's the guy that he's the guy that made the theme song to my videos. I remember telling him, and another guy, Mario, or was it Miguel? Damn, I keep on forgetting. But I remember telling them, you know what, man, I know this arcade place. I want to go there. We should go there. and we went there. It was me, my wife, uh, Michael, and Chris, and sure enough, it was a small room area. It was a kind of small arcade, but they had a different ones. They had like Crazy Taxi, San Francisco Rush, Tekken 3, Street Fighter Third Strike, CVS 2, Afterburner, Hang On, uh, some shooting one I can't remember. Oh, LA Machine Guns. Oh my god, I had so much fun with the LA Machine Guns with the big ass gun go taka 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 taka. But that place is kind of far away. That one's a little bit. I always found places like that to be a little more authentic than than a lot of these barcades. Because a lot of these barcades, they, it's more about the booze than it is about the games. So a lot of these barcades, their maintenance on their machines aren't as up to par. The little, you know, the guy, the guys that operated a little arcade place, um, near the beach, they when we had a problem with their Tekken 3 game, we were like, hey, the right punch on the player 2 side isn't working. Oh, really? So they just like go there to test it out. All right, it's not working. They give us back a quarter or token. And it's all right. Don't play this one. If you are, just play single player on the one player side or something. But here's your token back. And that I guess the next time we went, they fixed it. So I guess they're a little bit more. They're a little bit more understanding of their arcade machines. She learns heal now. Really now. Whoa. There are a couple arcade spots opening up here and there, but they're nowhere near me. I see barcades, but not an actual arcade location. There's stuff like Round One, but that doesn't quite grasp the experience I remember as a kid. Man, I really do miss that experience though. My One of my old coworkers, he was a younger guy, and he always asked a lot of questions about stuff. I don't know, like he was always kind of like, I guess he wanted to know about the old times. He was always curious about the '90s and whatever. And I told him, well, you probably look remembering the '90s as something that you see on TV, but I wasn't like that. I was more about like arcades, and to me the arcade was the thing, and being with my friends, and falling off a skateboard, that was something. And then he began asking me about the arcades, like what was. Yeah, my dad said he went to the arcades all the time. So yeah, what was it about? Like, tell me something. Like, talk to me about it. Like, really want to know? Tell me. He was really grinding me for info. Oh, and well, the arcade. Do you remember? Do you know where this high school's at now? Yeah, there used to be a laundromat there, that I would go to the and that laundromat had like arcades that I would go to play like every Friday, right? Like yeah, my mom made, I have memories of that. Like my mom every Friday would go to the laundromat, and I would follow her, and then I would play arcades, like while the machine was being washed, while she was using the washing machine, and then like and then I would tell him like stories. Like my brother told me a story of how word would get around about the newest Street Fighter, right? Like, this place has like the newest Street Fighter. The newest Street Fighter? Yeah, and all the arcade guys that like at a school, they would get word would spread around about the newest version of Street Fighter at a liquor store like about a mile away from the school. So when class let out, you know, him and his friend at the time, his friend was like more into fighting games. He's he co- you know he coaxed my brother into like following him to check out the newest. It was hyper fighting to Street Fighter 2 Turbo, to check out the Street Fighter 2 Turbo at a liquor store a mile away from the high school. And my brother followed him, and like he says, okay, well, we'll go check it out. Word got around the high school that this place has the newest Street Fighter, and as soon as school let out, 30 some odd kids were making a beeline, like an actual line in the street, going to play the newest Street Fighter at a liquor store. Like, can you just imagine 30 kids walking down the street, or walking on the sidewalk, making a beeline, like when kids leave high school, they spread out. No, this was an entire row of kids just going to a liquor store. And my brother said, he was like looking around like, damn, I guess everyone knows about this thing. All right, how about? Oh man, but this was way before my time. By the time I was in high school, oh man, I should probably. Yeah, I gotta. I'll just save me the feather and walk my way out of here. But I remember he told me that story, and I could just imagine. Because by the time I was in high school, the fighting game craze was already kind of like dissipating a little bit. And also like video games, they were more accepted. Like jocks were playing video games, and and it wasn't only like nerdy guys. No, it was like everyone's playing video games. It was becoming more diluted. So if someone talks about like Street Fighter 3, Alpha 3 coming out, because I remember hearing Street Fighter Alpha 3 coming out, like a new Street Fighter, okay, no one really cared. I cared, but not a lot of people really cared about it. Oh man. Anyway, going back to my old coworker, I did tell him that, and I remember like what was so special about it, like what really drew people in, and I gave him a comparison. Okay, I asked him, what are they playing right now? He's playing Call of Duty, Black Ops, right, on the PlayStation 4 or something. Okay. Like, okay, just imagine take that game, right? Take the PlayStation 4 version of whatever Call of Duty game it was. It's probably running at sub 1080p. It's probably running at sub 1080p, right? Textured resolutions are at this rate, 60 frames a second. Okay. If you were to compare that, if there was to be an arcade of like Call of Duty, I was giving him a theoretical. If there was a Call of Duty at the arcade, it'll be at 4K, running at 120 hertz a second, with like 4 times the detailed textures, Dolby Digital, 7.1 surround sound, with with everything unlocked or something like that. It's just coming up. Like, yeah, that's how it was. Now, dude, if you ever have the time, look at Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and then look at it how it showed up in arcade. People will go to the arcade for like a premium experience. I remember saying that. People went to the arcade for the premium experience because there's where the best version of those games were at, right? You would go for that, but you would also go because you want to test your skills against the people there. You want to get better at it. All this stuff. People actually would buy arcade sticks for the Super Nintendo so they could get proper practice. And I remember I brought my strategy guide, and I showed him, like, look, this is the arcade stick that was on for the Super Nintendo. I'm like, oh wow, that looks exactly like an arcade stick. Yeah, that's how it was, man. Really, that's how it was. It was not a it was a place to see the latest and greatest in technology, really. But we all know that very few companies really push the envelope. Not every company had the R&D to pull like something like that off. We'll take Sega for example. Like, I remember also telling my friend this, I remember telling him arcade machines, a lot of companies, they would like make the machine based off the game they wanted to make. And I kind of explained to him like Afterburner and Outrun and things like that. And I told him, like, I think it was around the 90s that a lot of companies, they started to make things a little bit more standard. Should probably get some armor. Where are you? There you are. Let's get a helm. Let's see. I'm not making enough money for this. I wonder if this is something they purposely did to slow down. That's a little bit of little more armor. I'm gonna save it and then try to I'm gonna save it and then try to oh wow, things really jumped up. Okay, I should be ready to fight or go to the courage thing. Oh, you know what? No, I should get more healing items. Like I don't know when it happened, right? There was but it was very clear that arcade manufacturers, they couldn't really keep on doing the hardware they used to. You can see that it's quite evident in it was quite evident when like Capcom started, you know, they kind of stopped after the CPS3. They stopped after the CPS3, and they proceeded to make their games on Naomi, Sega's arcade hardware, right? Let's see. Crab. Yeah, I remember the crab. Ooh. So how much damage that took? Well, crab. I know because I have it written down. Really, two? Whew. Whoa. Oh, that's rough. Sorry guys, I'm oh wow. How come this is not on my notes? Yes. Okay, well, that was. I can't believe that Mimic wasn't part of my. That was strange. There's something over here. Get rid of the beast first. I leveled up. It was over here. I think it's some sort of. I think that one's a mimic too. Let's see, magic, Milo. Like, really? I think this is another. Here, let me heal up.
What's on your mind?
Shut up, phone. Let's see. Item use. Really? Finally he wakes up. Attack! If anything, we do it for the XP and gold. Yeah, I have to get something from my loan. How much gold do I have? Wow. Stick around here. Alright, these fights are starting to become a little annoying. Oh, leveled up. Wisdom seed. What does a wisdom seed do? I forgot. Oh yeah. No, I think I think it levels up the intelligence of Milo and Pyra. Should probably use that right now. Like Pyra. Aww. Okay, never mind. It shows you a map. Oh, great. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of making a map sometimes, I guess. I know where I am relatively. Like, I drew this out years and years ago. Huh, not so hard anymore, huh? There's a chest over here, I think. Oh, snap. Okay. I'm pretty good health, so I should be able to handle one more. I guess those wisdom seeds aren't all important. Where am I at? Oh. Okay, you know what? I better head outside. Gonna get better armor for I'll get this for Milo. Give him a little bit more armor. He still needs. Damn, I should probably hang out down there until I could get a until I could get enough money. Get an angel feather because I know I'm going to need it. Give it a lance because he's most likely to survive. Jesus. Consider how much I leveled up. I should probably go ahead and save this. I still always expect. I half expect these. I really do half expect some of those puddles to come to life. I really do. I don't know what it is. It's just like it really does scare me because you know I don't know when they're supposed to come to life. I want to get my map ready. I'm saving all my magic for when I'm actually down at the Cave of Strength. Okay. Down here, over here, to the left. And go south. And to my right. Does the crab come out anymore? No. Oh wait, further south is some chests I haven't got to yet. My mom caught me looking through my old folders. And you know, looking for my maps. Ew. She thought I was looking for at old homework, and I was like, kind of. Oh snap! Okay, I think these guys also have a chance of poisoning. I knew it! I knew it! Oh. But that wasn't the monster I was scared of. I'm gonna see another one. No? Better heal just in case. Is it? I didn't. As a kid, or I couldn't say a kid. As a teenager, when I made these maps, I never put what's in them. I always put there's a chest there. Like I draw a little chest and that's it. Oh god, let's see. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, smelling salts. I guess that's for when you're sleeping or something. Should be another one. Oh man. Oh, I should be healthy enough. And 100 gold, that's great. I don't want to get poisoned, so everyone has to attack the spiders first. Jeez. Of course it won't do much damage. They use fire too. Well, everyone's just gonna have to wail on them. You know, when I first played Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo at the arcade, at Family Fun. It was like an itch that needed to be scratched. Crab? Nope. I know these things do something. Is crab over here? No. There's supposed to be one more crab, I think. I think there's a hole in there, yeah. Oh. Hmm. I think there's a crab coming up. Yep. There's a chest over here. Ah, jeez. Oh, they're really after Milo. Really? Well, if anything, just for the XP. Yes. Okay, well, I think even if I knew there were mimics, I probably would avoid them. I'm just leveling up, aren't I? Okay. Oh, God. I'm gonna end up fighting a water monster. It's little green pumpkins with knives. Ah, they definitely do some damage. Oh, great. Oh wow, you guys couldn't let me take one more step, huh? How much? What? Wow, look at that. It's a bit of a risk, but let's see. Oh, a woven robe. Let's see. Oh, I can't use it. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to head out. Let's see. Item, use. Damn. I could probably rush it through it a little bit more, but I really want to be safe. Because it has been something like 20 years since I played this game. No, wait. I was in 25 years? Something like that. A hemp robe. Whoa. Well, it doesn't raise it too much, but at least it's something. Ah. I think these are dual wielding weapons. You know, there were times when the crab would come out even after I beaten it. Oh, like this. See, it's not even much of a... Yeah, it's not much of a problem anymore. But I remember, oh wow, as a kid, that thing freaked me out. In video games, there's always been three enemies that scared me. It was this crab, the 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 Pinky Demon, and Doom. Yeah, the Pinky Demons freaked me out all the time. The and Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. Those were those three enemies were like my video game horrors when I was a kid. And the crab came back. You see, I think after a number of turns or something, the crabs just come back. Well, after a number of steps, I mean. You know. Going the right way, spider? No. Another one? They don't always show up in the same place either. Yeah, I don't need. I do have to say, what didn't help the arcade scene, and especially the fighting game scene back in the day, was the fact that there were too many fighting games. If you take 90 98, 99, 2000, and 2001, there were so many different fighting games showing up that it it just like flooded the market. It really did. And people who played fighting games, they typically try to stick to one or two fighting games at a time. You know, if you really look at it, you got like if you let's take those years I mentioned. Alpha 3 from 98 to 2001. You're talking about Alpha 3, Street Fighter 3, second, the regular Second Impact and Third Strike came out in that time frame. The Capcom vs SNK2, King of Fighters 98, 99, Garo Mark of the Wolves, Tekken 3, Virtua Fighter on the Dreamcast, Dead or Alive. You could, and many others. There were many others, and I don't. And at the time, the fighting games basically kept the arcade scene alive, but Spider, no crap. But at the end of the day, it was gonna it was gonna go away at some point, right? But like with those many fighting games, it wasn't gonna help. Like arcade makers, they knew that was the only thing that would make money in arcades, and like you couldn't do a platformer or a Pac-Man-like game or a puzzler and hope that it would make as much money as it did in the 80s. It just wasn't gonna happen. That arcade place I talked about was almost exclusively fighting games. The only thing I remember, the only thing seen there that wasn't a fighting game was like San Francisco Rush and Puzzle Fighter, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo or whatever thing that they called it. And I think I also saw Baku Baku there, and it was very strange. It, you know, it just was one of those things where it was just too flooded. You know, it, there was just too many different fighting games. I don't think that helped the industry all that much, really. It, that's why there was a period that they called it the dark times, right? When they called it the dark times when like between 2002 to whenever Street Fighter 4 came out, like what, 2008 I think, or 2009. Those 7 years, yeah, that was a rough spot. Capcom Fighting Evolution, anyone? It was a bad time. But there were a lot of faithful people, you know. Guilty Gear, that was another game that came out. The like, and I think Capcom knew what they were doing with Street Fighter 4 and 5. They were trying to make it a little more casual, a little more easy, because Family Fun, they had like very professional. Great. They have very professional people, but they there was something of a barrier, you know. Oh, these things are only doing 1 point of damage. These people, you know, these players, they knew the ins and outs. They knew the timing, frame data, everything that everyone talks about. They kind of already knew in their heads, and an average person couldn't do that. So when they brought out Street Fighter 4, I could tell that they're changing things a little bit just so they could get they do things easier so they could get more people to play. Oh, I remember this thing I did at work. Here, let me tell you about what I did at work. When we got the... Well, we had an Xbox 360 display, right? Yeah, we had this Xbox 360 display. I wonder if I'm going the right way. Yeah, I think I think there's a boss fight over here. Water, yeah. Use magic on these things. I don't know what they do. Huh. What did I do? Oh man. So this is what I did at work. When when hyper fighting came out on on the Xbox Live Arcade, there was a, you know, I bought it. I bought it right away. It was fun. I played with a couple of friends, and we were having a great time. When, you know, and what I what I did was thinking like, you know what? What if I could upload this to the demo at work, right? Uh, I had like privileges to get in there and do stuff given to me by by the by a Microsoft rep, cool guy. And And what I did was I had a memory card, a I forgot how many a 64 megabyte memory card, and I put a demo of hyper fighting, and then uploaded it to the unit at work. And I just put it there. I'll put it there. I was like, you know what? I'll mess with it on my break. No one's gonna care. And before long, I'm hearing Hadouken, Shoryuken, like I'm in an arcade, and I go around I go around the aisle. I go to the Xbox aisle and I see a guy around my age playing the demo that I just installed. And I was like, "Oh man, are you enjoying yourself?" You're like, "Oh man, yeah, I didn't know the Xbox had Street Fighter." This was a new guy, right? And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's part of the Xbox like arcade thing. You could download it for I don't know how much, for like $12 or something like that." And I was like, "Really? Yeah, you could you could buy these cards." I was doing my whole spiel thing, and like, oh man, I gotta keep that in mind. You know, I don't know if he bought an Xbox or not, but I think he did. I think it's the water monster. Yeah. Okay, just wail on him. That's all I could really do. And this happened multiple times. Like someone would just keep on, like playing that demo. And I remember this one father. He he was slightly older than me. He had his kid there, and he was playing with Ryu. It was only ever like two matches, and then the demo kicks you out. But he was like, "Daddy, I want to get out of here. Why are you playing that old game?" And I remember it was like, oh, it's it was like, and the guy was like, "Do you have another control so he could play?" He's like, "Ah, no, man, sorry." Like, oh snap. And I was like, "No, sorry, man. We don't have it. It was only a demo so people could try out." Oh man! And then the guy went. He asked me if I ever played it back in the day, and I remember telling him, "Yeah, yeah. I used to go to the laundromat that was close to my house had this, and me and my friends would play, all the time. I was just making stuff up, but I was referring to the old times, right? Oh, I think I'm strong enough. Let me see. Oh, something I don't need. Great. Oh man, but sure enough, man, we and him, although we never knew each other, I'm just like an employee and he was a customer. We were talking like we were like best of friends, Like we were talking about like he said that he would go all the time after after school, and his mom would call the owner of the liquor store all the time to see if he was there. Great. Oh, poor Lance. Look at it. Achunga. That's funny. Nah. Man. Oh man, they're really going after him. Okay, everyone just start wailing on these guys. I think there's